What's up everybody? Welcome to the Phase Reviews YouTube channel. My name is Jordan. If you're new here, thank you for joining me. And if you're a subscriber, welcome back as always. On the table in front of me, I have a pair of powered studio monitors from the company Dayton Audio. This is a company I've been wanting to try for a long time. These speakers pack a lot of punch for a very reasonable price. They've got built-in Bluetooth and a built-in DAC. They've got analog inputs, of course, and with 4-inch speaker drivers, they managed to put out quite a bit of quality audio. In this video today, I'm going to do an unboxing of these speakers, tell you about what comes inside, the quality of the components, talk about my experience using them, give you an up-close look at all of the ins and the outs, and lastly, give you a demo of them in action before sharing my final thoughts on whether or not I think they're worth picking up for yourself. Before we dive into the review, make sure that you subscribe and ring that notification bell so that you don't miss any content coming in the future. And if you like this video as it goes on, make sure you hit the like button and leave a comment with your thoughts on the Dayton Audio M4. But enough about that, let's unbox these things and take a look at them. All right, so the unboxing portion has already been done. I've been testing these speakers for a while just to make sure I can give you an honest assessment of their performance, but I've laid out everything on the table so that you can see what comes in the package. We have the speakers themselves, which we'll get an up-close look at in a minute. You're also going to get, of course, power cable, nice standard replaceable cord there. The connecting cable for the two speakers, one is active, one is passive, so this will power both of them. And the cable to connect these, I'll give you an up-close look at it in a minute. It's a nice, like, thick sheathed cable with banana connectors on the ends. Everything about this is high quality, by far the most high quality connecting cable I've gotten for a pair of monitors ever to this point. So it's, let's see, probably about 6 feet in length, plenty to stretch across either an office desk or even in my case, my media console, which you'll see at the end of this video. And again, just this stood out to me right away as, wow, these people really care about what they're including with their speaker. Now, you also are going to get your user manual, of course. It's very well written and explains everything you would need to know if you haven't owned speakers like this before, but it's not too wordy. It's like literally the perfect manual. I haven't remarked on a manual in a while. That one is really great. You get a remote, okay? This lets you adjust your inputs, your volume, play, pause, fast forward. It also lets you activate the bass boost function, which these have. You can't activate that on the speaker itself. You need the remote for it, but everything else you can activate right on the speakers. You also are going to get a nice braided aux cable, 3.5 millimeter to RCA if you want to hook up a media player or your phone, and then you get a USB cable as well. So now let me zoom the camera into the speakers. We'll take a look at the back side, the front controls, and I'll tell you about the most important specs and features for these monitors. We've zoomed in on the Dayton Audio M4 so I can tell you about the inputs, the outputs, the components, the controls, but before we do that, let me show you these cables up close. This is the connecting cable. You can see the banana plugs, the sheath right here, pretty thick around. It's not a cheap speaker wire that's 20 gauge. It's a nice, hefty connecting cable. It's gonna stand up to lots of use. This is the aux cable they include, again, braided, nice connectors. You can tell that Dayton cares about the quality of their components. Now, the speakers themselves are, for 4-inch monitors, very heavy. I don't know how big the magnets are on these, but I imagine huge. There's no uneven seams, there's no manufacturing defects. They're very pretty to look at. The finish is a nice matte black, gonna stand up better to fingerprints than like a piano black. They just look really, really high quality. Now, we've got a silk dome tweeter up top. We've got their signature series woofer down here at the bottom. And then this is a sealed cabinet design, no ports for low frequency extension, but honestly, with the bass boost function, which we're gonna talk about in a minute, you really don't need them. Now, they have a built-in DAC. Let me flip this around so you can kind of see the ins and the outs. This is the powered speaker. You can see all of our connections. And then this is going to be our passive speaker. Big gold speaker connectors right here. These can accept different cable types if for some reason you didn't want to use the built-in ones, but I'm just using the banana plugs that came with it. We've got the USB connection, speaking of that DAC. So it's 192 kilohertz, 32 bit rate right here, USB-C. You can select your audio quality when you connect that up to your PC, your Mac, your phone, whatever you want. Now, starting from the top, we've got our aux in right here for your analog device. We've got a subwoofer output. This is a low-passed, preamplified output, so you can hook this up to a subwoofer, and the volume knob on the front will actually control the volume of the subwoofer, so you don't need to adjust them independently, which is really nice. Now, below the USB, we have a powered speaker position select switch, which is really great. So depending on which side your connections are on or where your power plug is, maybe this powered speaker needs to be on the right side of your room or the left side. You can actually change the polarity of the two speakers so that no matter how you set them up, which side you've got this speaker on, they'll always be in the correct orientation, which is really great. A little indicator light down here to show that we've paired to your Bluetooth device, power switch, and the input connection for the power. Over on our passive speaker, we just have the same connectors right there. Now, when I first hooked these up, I thought these weren't appropriately sized because they were quite difficult to get in, but they're just a really solid connection. And after I hooked them and unhooked them a couple times to move them down to the studio, it got much smoother. Now, flipping this speaker around to look at the front, you'll see the control knob right here. So this not only adjusts your volume when you turn it left and right, it also will allow you to switch your input. So clicking it, we'll go through a few different colors. The green is the aux, that'll come up right here. The amber is the USB, the blue is the Bluetooth, and the red is the standby mode. So click this, you can cycle through it. These have auto power down. After 60 minutes of no signal, they will shut off, but if you want to shut them down earlier, you just hold this button down and that will put it into standby mode, which is really handy. They have 150 watts of power on the inside, 75 watts RMS. Watts are not a direct indicator of output, but when you compare these to other speakers of this size, most of them are sitting at 20, 30, maybe 40 watts if you're lucky. So a ton of output, really high sensitive drivers in here, so you're going to get quite a bit of volume for the size. They have a frequency response of 40 to 20,000 hertz, which is a pretty generic frequency range, but if 4-inch drivers can get down to 40 hertz, I will be happy. All right, so now we've talked about the specs and you've seen the speakers up close. I'm going to do an audio demo. Now, I'm prefacing this like I always do with the fact that I don't like audio demos. I don't think they accurately convey the sound of the speakers, because by the time they come through my Tascam recorder, are uploaded to my video editing program, edited, exported and compressed, and then uploaded to YouTube, and going through that whole process again, coming out whatever speakers or earphones you're using, it's not a true representation of the sound, but people want to hear them, and so that's why I do it. Now, this one in particular, I'll preface it when I overlay the footage of the audio test, but I'm using copyrighted tracks. I'm going to keep the clips short to hopefully not get a copyright strike, because I wanted you to hear this with actual good quality music and not the streaming YouTube audio library. So let me switch over to the sound demo. All right, so now we are in the upstairs living room. This is the main listening space for these speakers. I'm going to be playing some demo tracks streamed from my phone with the bass boost off, and then I will turn the bass boost on. After we do some streaming, we'll also go to this record player up here and play a few albums or songs off some albums. Now, I'm going to be playing my audiophile playlist, and unfortunately these are all going to get me copyright striked or demonetized, so I'm only going to play maybe 8 seconds of each one, maybe to avoid that, and that's why I'm going to be skipping through them so quick. So let's do some streamed audio, bass boost off. Now I'm going to switch the bass boost on. You can see the light flash twice on the speaker.
Well, I noticed straight away it made me in. Carry down the track.
All right, so now we're playing some vinyl. This is a little Bill Evans. Now, I've zoomed back in one more time to talk to you at the end of this video about the audio quality. I've been listening to a wide variety of genres, artists, tracks to get a feel for these speakers. They mention in the manual that they do best after a break-in period. I do think that's true. The more I listen to them, the better they sound. But the highs are very smooth, not piercing at all. Mid-range, very intelligible, very clear, and the low end punches well above the physical size of the driver. I don't know what kind of wizardry they're doing inside of these speakers, but they sound really, really good. Will they be on their own without a subwoofer and do everything exactly like they should? No, you are limited by physics to some degree. They do a pretty good job of imitating a larger driver, but at the end of the day, if you want that true thumping low end, hit you in your chest when you listen to a pounding kick drum or some EDM or hip hop, you're gonna wanna add a subwoofer. Thankfully, you got the sub out that's controlled by the volume knob, so that's really easy to do. But if you are just doing background music, you're doing acoustic music, you're doing anything where you just want a full sound, not necessarily a gut punch sound, these do an excellent job. I'm trying to think of anywhere they fall short. You know, really, I thought that I would make them crack by pushing them to their upper volume limits, and it just didn't happen. I mean, you have to have these maxed out to get any sort of distortion in the lows and mids from, you know, this single driver doing all of the frequencies above or below 2500 hertz, but in all honesty, they really just kept up with pretty much everything that I threw at them. And there you have it. Those are the Dayton Audio M4 powered monitor speakers. I'm very impressed. I've owned bigger monitors, I've owned more powerful and heavier monitors, and they have not sounded as full and as rich as these speakers do. They have their limitations, of course. If you compare them with the subwoofer because you like that low end or you listen to EDM, hip hop, stuff with a lot of deep frequencies, that's a great thing to do. But even on their own, for the vast majority of listeners, you're gonna be really happy with how these sound. It has all of the features, the functionality, the inputs that I would want to see in a speaker at this price point, and it just does it all in a really well-made package that looks good anywhere you put them. So I highly recommend these. They're definitely staying with me, and they're going to be hooked up to my turntable in the living room. And if you want to read more about these or buy some for yourself, I'll include a link down in the description. You can go check it out. If you're not going to pick some of these up today, I'd love if you just subscribe to the channel, ring the notification bell, and leave a comment down below letting me know what you think of the Dayton Audio M4. I appreciate you watching today. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.